Dawn in the desert, a clear and chilly November morning. We are near the city of Buckeye, Arizona, where a caravan of cars is arriving, carrying volunteers. For the next several hours, they will comb this unforgiving landscape, looking for a young man who's been missing since June of 2021. His name, Daniel Robinson. And leading the search, not law enforcement, but Daniel's father, David.
Where is everybody located?
For 9 painful months, Robinson and his team of volunteers, people he now calls family,
This is my family.
have been desperately trying to find any trace of his son.
He's a very bright, intelligent geologist. Anything that Daniel wanted to do, he would do it. He's born without a right hand, but he found ways to master anything that he wanted to do. You know, he's a geologist. Of course, Arizona is the ideal place.
In June 2021, Daniel had just begun a job doing field work at a desert well site. He'd always kept in close touch with his family back home in South Carolina. But around this time, Daniel suddenly stopped calling.
I tried to call his phone constantly. He wasn't answering.
In fact, the whole family tried calling Daniel. Nothing. His sister in Arizona checked his apartment. No one there.
I was worried. I didn't want to panic because I didn't want my children to panic, so that's when I decided to call the Buckeye Police Department.
The Buckeye PD is a small one with barely more than 100 officers. Nevertheless, they began investigating by first checking the area where Daniel was reportedly working. Nothing turned up. 2 days later, David Robinson, desperate for answers, felt he had to take matters into his own hands.
I just grabbed everything I had, threw it in my vehicle, and just started driving. And I made it here. I came straight through, left South Carolina, came straight to Arizona.
Some 45 hours later, David arrived in this daunting desert, exhausted, but in a panic. His son was out here somewhere, all alone, facing 3-digit heat, rattlesnakes, and not a soul or building in sight. So on his own, David started searching and soon made his way to the well site where his son was last seen.
This is where it all began. This is where the whole narrative started. My son drove off into the desert and vanished, maybe from here.
David then met with a witness, a co-worker of his son's, who said he saw Daniel at the well the day he disappeared.
He did tell me that my son seemed like he was looking out into space somewhere, looking out into the desert terrain, kind of staring off, and was acting really quiet. And then he told me my son just kind of waved off to him, got in his vehicle, and drove off.
Where he went and what exactly happened next, no one seems to know. Soon after that meeting, David began recruiting volunteers to help him search the sprawling Sonoran Desert. Every Saturday for the next few weeks, they scoured this barren, treacherous landscape. They have not found Daniel. Then, in July 2021, a break, a big one. A local rancher found Daniel's Jeep rolled over in a remote ravine.
When I first saw that crash site, I was really devastated. This place I had to go to and see for myself.
The airbags had deployed. The sunroof looked as if it had been kicked open, perhaps used as an escape route. And this was odd. Outside the Jeep were what appeared to be Daniel's clothes and work boots, his wallet still in his blue jeans. Inside the vehicle was his college ID, laptop, keys, cell phone, and plenty of bottled water. To help make sense of this mystery, David hired private investigator Jeff McGrath, an expert at reconstructing accidents. He has a theory of what might have happened.
There was nothing along this route that the vehicle took into that bottom ravine that matched the damage. It's telling me the vehicle was probably crashed somewhere else. Either moved here or it was continued to be driven, and this was its final stop. Whether somebody stole it in joyriding, whether Daniel was in it, but it tells me something happened somewhere else.
The Jeep has since been moved to a secured location for further analysis, but plenty of evidence still remains of the crash.
I don't believe it was enough to kill, no. The airbags had enough force to do some damage. They strike you in the face, and they come out with a lot of force, and it could cause a concussion. But there wasn't enough violence here in this crash to cause a lethal.
That suggests Daniel survived and was perhaps disoriented and maybe wandered aimlessly into the desert. Could this be other than accidental? Could foul play be involved in Daniel's disappearance? It's something McGrath and David have not ruled out. It's something police have examined too. To this point, there is no evidence of that. None at all. Whatever happened back in June of 2021 has David Robinson now bracing for the worst.
It's hard to say you're searching for your son, walking around the desert with no clothing, no shoes. So I had to mentally put it in my head that I'm doing a recovery. So I need to go find every spot I can out here to rescue my son. He may be hurt, injured, somewhere stuck, whatever. I need to find my son. Yeah, I found something up here interesting.
David is hoping to get more attention, help, and resources from the Buckeye PD, which says this is still an ongoing investigation, although so far not a criminal one.
Okay, so we're still working this side.
He's also tried to enlist federal help. In the fall of 2021, the Buckeye PD briefed the FBI and asked for their assistance. The Bureau recently told us they're still assessing the case. So far, they have not gotten involved. So for now, David Robinson and his team of volunteers continue to search.
I really have faith that somehow God can bless that he's alive somewhere, and I hope so. I am not stopping. He's my son. He's my responsibility. He's a fighter. He never give up on that thing. I definitely won't give up on him.
It's now been 10 months since geologist Daniel Robinson went missing in the Buckeye Desert. His dad had been conducting his own searches near where his son's crashed Jeep was found.
Yeah, it's still a mystery, and with his son still missing, he says funding has run dry, and he's going to stop searching, at least for now. Brianna Whitney's been following the case for us, spoke to Daniel's father today. Do we know what comes next?
He doesn't even know what comes next. And I think what's so hard in this case is there's just so much unknown here. And that's what's so hard. His dad made a point to say just because he's pausing his desert searches does not mean he's giving up on the case. Because David Robinson has conducted his own investigation alongside law enforcement, he's working largely off donated funds. He says right now there's just not enough to keep group searches going after 10 months.
June 23rd, 2021. The last time anyone saw Daniel Robinson. Yet his dad, David, keeps one thought in the front of his mind.
My son may still be alive out there somewhere.
David Robinson drove to Arizona from the East Coast after his son went missing from his geology job site in Buckeye last summer. His Jeep found crashed about 3 weeks after. Since then, David has been leading organized desert searches with volunteers several times a month. They've found bones that belong to others, but never Daniel's. David says he relies on GoFundMe dollars to keep his own investigation and searches up. And he says the reality is those funds have run out.
The operations search, the organized search is on pause for now.
He says while searches are on hold for now, he's focusing on a different part of the investigation with items found at the Jeep crash site.
One of the biggest parts for me right now is to get the forensics work done for everything else that I found, the clothing, my son's wallet, his cell phone. There's another additional cell phone that was found out there doing my searches close to that area. That phone itself, also the work computer and his personal computer.
David says he's taking his efforts to the next level, filing a 501c3 Tuesday to launch the Daniel Robinson Foundation, where he hopes he can not only raise more money for his own investigation, but can also provide funding to other families dealing with missing loved ones.
The goal is to help other families to not go through the same thing I have been through just to get to this point.
While the Buckeye Police Department has not found evidence of foul play at this point, David says he still believes something criminal happened and says he will stay living in Arizona to see his son's case through.
I'm here until I find my son. That's what the goal is. That's why I'm really fighting. I'm doing everything I can to make sure that happens. I think any father, any mother would do the same.
Buckeye Police tells me Daniel's case is absolutely still active and an ongoing investigation. They're still working on conducting new interviews, looking at satellite imagery, checking financial activity, and working on forensics and targeted searches in that area. Live for Now in the studio, Brianna Whitney for Arizona's Family.
A dedicated father, no matter the result in that case. Brianna, thank you for that.
Thanks so much for joining us. Our big story right now on 12 News at 6. May 23rd will mark 11 months since Daniel Robinson vanished in the Buckeye Desert.
His father moved here from South Carolina and has been leading search efforts almost every weekend. But now he says donations have dried up and he's hitting the pause button on the search.
So what is next? Team 12's Josh Sanders has been following this story from the very beginning and has more.
Sometimes your body want to say, I can't do it no more. But my mind say, I got to keep going.
Nearly every weekend for the last 10 months, David Robinson has been here, searching the Buckeye Desert with volunteers, hundreds showing up to look for his son, Daniel.
10 months is a long time. Every day is that same thing over and over again. Daniel's still out there missing.
He's organized hundreds of search groups, using drones and other technology to canvass miles of desert terrain around the crash site of Daniel's 2017 blue Jeep Renegade. Daniel's clothing found inside out, boots and socks, wallet and laptop. No blood, no signs of injury, no signs of Daniel. He hired a private investigator and collision expert.
After the airbags came out, somebody turned that ignition over at least 46 more times.
David's teams even found human remains, but not Daniel's. Funding generated through a GoFundMe account. More than $250,000 raised through thousands of donors.
Everybody made that possible for me to remain here. Started off with roughly 200 people coming out there on weeks to go out there and search with me. That number has dramatically dropped. I'd be lucky if I get 20.
But that funding has now run dry, leading David to temporarily pause the desert searches.
The stress of the demands of trying to get the forensics work done on the vehicles and the clothing and everything else. Then I had to take away some of the equipment that's very vital and crucial.
Buckeye police do not have evidence pointing to foul play. Despite pausing the searches, David remains determined to find his son and help others with missing loved ones. He's in the early stages of establishing a foundation in Daniel's name to support other families with similar stories.
It's a nonstop deal for me. I want to make sure that the same thing that I have gone through don't happen to another family. So if I can help it.
Josh Sanders, 12 News.
My name is Daniel Robinson. I attend AC Flora, and I'm planning to major in geology at College of Charleston.
Good job. When the lights and camera turn off, I will be here. When the interest and conversation fade, I will be here. When there's no one around, a father will do anything it takes to be there for his son, to protect his family.
Daniel Robinson went missing 4 months ago. This is the last photo his family has of him. He's a 24-year-old geologist, last seen leaving his job site in Buckeye, Arizona.
As the Gabby Petito homicide case garners national attention, another young person has been missing for nearly 3 months, and his family is desperate to find him. 24-year-old Daniel Robinson, a geologist, was last seen on the morning of June 23rd, leaving his work site in the desert of Buckeye, Arizona.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son. And I'm still currently searching for him. Thank you, everybody, for coming in this morning Q&A. My name is David Robinson. I am the father of geologist Daniel Cornelius Robinson. My son, Daniel, geologist Daniel Cornelius Robinson, went missing on June 23rd in the Sonoran Desert of Buckeye, Arizona. He was at his work site when he went missing. That morning, my son had visited 2 well sites, one roughly around 7 o'clock that morning. Then he eventually made it to the second well site, according to this worker who was already at the well site before he got there. My son called him and got directions to this location. According to that worker, him and my son met on the roadway out on Sun Valley Parkway. And once they had a little conversation on the roadway, my son followed him into that desert. They had to drive a mile in, going west, and then they had to go 2 miles north to make it to this well site area, where they had a 10-minute conversation, according to the worker, about the weather. My son wanted to either he go back to Phoenix or he go back to Phoenix. And after that brief conversation, this worker said that my son waved off to him, got in his vehicle, and drove off, where he was never ever seen again. Almost 30 days later, my son's vehicle showed up in this ravine behind me. There's a picture that was taken from the Buckeye Police Department crime scene. Of course, we made it to a poster, but this is where my son's vehicle was found, in a ravine almost 3 miles away from the work site, farther into the Sonoran Desert. It's more like southwest from the well site. There, it was a 20-foot ravine, according to the Buckeye Police Department. According to the Buckeye Police Department, my son's clothing was in a pile almost three feet away from the vehicle, in front of the vehicle. And also another, a safety vest was another foot away from that pile. In that pile was my son's wallet and his contents in the wallet. We're not sure if it had any money in it. Inside the vehicle was his cell phone that we've been calling as a family for almost a little over a full day before it went to started going to voicemail. Also, his work computer and his 2 cases of water and some other items, a backpack and some other items. So those things were found in the vehicle. Like I said, according to the Buckeye Police Department, they feel that the vehicle rolled and twisted and flipped over and landed on the side. There is the good part is, according to the law enforcement, is that my son did sustain any injuries because they didn't see any blood in the vehicle, and also that he was wearing a seatbelt because of the way the seatbelt was locked in the position. Also, they felt that he kicked out the sunroof, and once he kicked his way out of the sunroof, that's where the glasses came from on the ground. And once he got out through the sunroof, they believe that he sustained a severe head injury. He told me how a brain injury causes you to shred your clothes off, and that explains the reason why there's a pile of clothing on the ground. My son most likely, because of his head injury, he thought he was hot, took his clothes off, and went to go hide up on a tree where he probably succumbed to his injuries. They also said that they believe that maybe he just wanted to be away from the family and decided to join a monastery to become a monk. Those are the theories that caused me to, as a father, to hire my own private investigator, who is also an asset reconstructionist. At the scene, my investigator came out, and also he looked at the vehicle, which was in my possession. The vehicle was given to me. The vehicle was found on July the 19th, 2021, by a rancher who said that he was out there in that area 2 to 3 days prior, and the vehicle wasn't there. But nevertheless, he found it on the 19th, and out there in that ravine here behind me, he reported to the Buckeye Police Department. And again, like I said, the Buckeye Police Department showed me the vehicle almost a little over 24 hours later, told me that my son's vehicle was found, and also called me to the police department where they released the vehicle to me. Of course, in process of time, I did ask for fingerprinting to be done a few days after that. They said they was doing that. And then I was able to get that vehicle out of that area, out of the compound. Like I said, my investigator, once he saw the vehicle, he immediately knew something was wrong. Being an accident reconstructionist, he looked at the terrain when he went out there, looked at the damage on the vehicle. Nothing didn't match the terrain in the area right here in this ravine that caused the certain damages that he saw in the vehicle. Also, had found some red transfer paint on the passenger side of the vehicle, the front end. Where the red transfer paint came from, it definitely wasn't the desert. That includes that the vehicle was crashed somewhere else. He also went to the Buckeye Police Department to get whatever information they had they wanted to share. They shared a lot. In fact, they told him that they didn't have an investigation, that it was done with it. They also told me that they didn't have no more leads to follow, and they gave him the black box data with everything they had. It was done with the case. They also gave me a final police report that I requested, and once we got all those items, my investigator had started doing his work. He went through that black box data, where he found out that the vehicle was driven an additional 11 miles after the first crash. And also the vehicle was going a certain amount of speed. I couldn't remember exactly what that was. But he went out to that area to see before, I think 5 seconds before the impact, the first crash, the black box data said the vehicle was going a certain speed. He went to go measure that distance from that ravine crash to that speed. It wasn't enough terrain there coming across there to even get to that speed. He and I also have used desert equipment, desert vehicles made for that terrain, much lighter in weight and everything, and we still couldn't get the vehicles we were using up to that speed to even make that impact down the ravine. So there's a lot of determinations there that show that the vehicle wasn't there, wasn't crashed there. Of course, with the testimony of the rancher and also the information we found, he later was able to get the infotainment system sent out to California for analysis. I was told that he had received I believe it was like a 900-page report. In that report, found out the vehicle was crashed on June the 23rd, roughly around 1 o'clock, the first initial crash. And that also determined that the vehicle wasn't crashed there in this ravine. Like I said, the first crash happened on that time, and the rancher didn't find the vehicle until the 19th crashed. He didn't see it there 2 days prior, 2 to 3 days prior. It wasn't there. So there's a lot of information there that would suggest that the vehicle was planted there, or some foul play happened. Someone else took the vehicle, joyrided, and crashed it there. All kind of things like that was also considered. Also, the fact that if he was in a vehicle, why would he not take his water, which I say he had 2 cases of water untouched. Also, why, certain things, why would he take his clothing off? I could tell you guys again, I had a brain injury from my time in Afghanistan, and I have never had the urge to take any clothes off and things like that. So why was I told that? I don't know. So there's a lot of information there that would suggest things, but the Buckeye Police Department felt that the need to give me everything of my son the next day. The vehicle was found on the 19th, like I said. I was given everything my son owned in that scene in evidence badge marked for safekeeping. I found out later when the police department marked for safekeeping, I mean they're done with the case. They have nothing they feel they need to collect. I found out in a meeting that they didn't do any forensic work on the scene. As I said before, this picture came from that scene when they found the vehicle, and you don't see any markers and things like that on the ground because they didn't do any forensic work on the scene, and intended to look at it if it's a possible crime. So all that stuff was given over to me, and so I was able to utilize that and give it to my investigator. Where to date, I am currently still gathering funding that I need to do the forensics work that wasn't done on the scene. Much as the department say they have processed the vehicle, process came only after I had the meeting and demanded that they do printing on the vehicle, and the printing of the vehicle is the only processing that they told me they ever did. So at the time. Anyway, I'm here this morning to do a Q&A for you guys to answer your questions. I have a lot of people who have a lot of interest in my son's case. My interest in my son's case, of course, is he's my son. The second part is I have to make sure that my son's story remains active. Make sure his case remain active. Make sure we're actively looking for my son, and make sure that he don't go just get washed under the rug. My son deserves the justice that he deserves, and the respect and honor and of the person he is. He's a human being. The same energy that I think I would have seen if this was a police cruiser sitting out there in that ravine. I think every police department in America would have came down to Buckeye, Arizona, to locate this officer and really be giving his family all the information they can. Every department in America, whether it's the FBI or whoever, would have been involved in this case. My son is just as important as any officer out there. So I want to make sure that my son, I'm trying to do everything I can to make sure my son gets some due respect, and also get the urgency and the care to find out what happened to my son. I know for a fact if there was a police officer, they would have long time ago found out what happened to this officer. They've been working around the clock. They wouldn't care how much money they spend to make sure they find the answers. I have yet to this date to have the Buckeye Police Department come to any of my searches outside of the 2 times I asked them to, I invited them out to come to do a specific job, which on both occasions they came empty-handed. On one occasion, they had to come out do a weekday where they did half the job that I asked for, and I initially ended up having to do it myself. So that's where I stand. I would like to see the departments to spend, like I said, the money that we have been collecting. When I say collecting, my money and also your money, the people who have been gracious to donate your funds out to the GoFundMe to keep me here in Arizona, and also keep me being able to get the information out there through flyers and banners to billboards, and also at the time the searches that I had when my son been out there in that desert conducting weekly searches out there, organized searches. So you guys, the same type of money that was used for most cases, these police department will use it in a day. What you guys see that has been gathered in the GoFundMe, I've been very great to be able to utilize that money for over going on 11 months now, and still here in Arizona. So I'm really grateful for you guys for helping me out. I have gotten no assistance at all from law enforcement at all when it terms of coming out to the searches, and also to make sure that everything, I can't even get them to even add to the, I asked add to the reward money that I have. That all coming from myself, my family, and also for you guys who has been helping. So again, if you guys have any questions this morning, I would like to hear those. If you go ahead and put it in your comment section. Don't forget to put the word comment question first, or a capital letter Q, or some question marks or things like that. That would definitely help me as I come down the comment section to find your question. But I do want to first start off by just reminding you guys of the Day of Remembrance. It'll be on June 25th. It'll be this month on 25th at 6:30 p.m. to 10. If you guys can come out there, I would be grateful to see you all out there, especially if you have a missing family member. That's what it's about. You guys come out, you have to share your story of your loved one. We would like to hear that. We'd like to see you out there and be able to highlight, the cases that don't actually get heard. I worked really hard for my son. I worked for 3 months hard just to get some kind of news coverage. And ultimately, my son's case went nationally, and I'm very grateful. But there's a lot of families who haven't even gotten to that point, have never gotten the stories even put on the air to this day. Nobody know who they are, and we're gonna make sure if I can help it, and also my team, we're gonna make sure that you be able to put your story out there. So we're gonna try to help as much as we can. So you guys can come out there on June 25th. I really, really appreciate you in different states. Just put on your calendar, and hopefully you can come on out there on June 25th. So I look forward to seeing you. I look forward to shaking your hands, to be as much of help as I can. So really grateful if you guys can come out and show your attendance. And those who don't have a missing person, please come out and support. We need you out there. I'm really grateful you guys showing up at the candlelit vigil that we had the last event. And if you guys need information about this event, please go to pleasehelpfinddane.com on the events tab. You get more information. You can RSVP now. You can bring them in the people as you want. We look forward to having a great time with a number of people being out there. But, we definitely want to be able to, like I said, highlight what's going on in other people's families. So also had an anonymous tip line here you guys can use. And I've been saying to make sure this is a campaign now to reach out to those people who definitely know what happened to my son, or this person who know what happened to my son, who has those answers and watches the Q&A. I also employ the Buckeye Police Department to tell me more. I need to know, ask these questions. I am the father of my son, and I deserve to have some information about what's been found, what's been happening in my son's case, if they had a case. And like I said, they haven't given me no evidence themselves that they even investigated at all my son's case. And also, just like I said, the anonymous tip line is for anybody who have information outside of the Buckeye Police Department, outside of anybody else who we speculating what's going on, even myself. Somebody who have firsthand knowledge of what happened to my son, whether you're involved yourself or you just have some knowledge of it. That's what anonymous tip line is for. And I've been asking you guys for a while. And I'll say you guys, I'm not talking to everybody who's following this channel. You don't know anything what happened to my son. I'm talking to persons who know. A lot of times when people have information, or they're part of something that happened, they tend to show up to things like searches and this Q&A, for instance. And I know you're there. I know you hear my voice. You know that I've been working out here for 11 months, going on 11 months now. It was 10 months, but going on 11. Well, actually, it's 11 months going now, and going on 12 months. Believe it or not, the time has gone by fast on me. And, I still haven't spoken out. I provided this person or persons with anonymous tip line. Anonymous tip line is very useful. If you're a person that you feel like you don't want to snitch, you should. This is a family that's hurting. Daniel has a mother. He has siblings. All we asking for is to bring our son home, one way out of the other. And the thing is, if you guys can be at this point one way or the other, and if you guys can provide the information that's gonna bring my son home, that's what this number is for. I pay for the service, and it's for you. It's a gift to this person or persons who know what happened to my son to be able to utilize this number and say something. You can remain anonymous. There's no reason to feel like you're in any type of danger for giving the information. If it's all about money, you have a tip, you have a reward there. You know what I'm saying? So, just utilize that number. That's what I said. That's what the number is for. Like I said, you use it 24 hours, 7 days a week. There's live operators there, very kind people. I make sure I listen to it myself and make sure the service that I'm paying for is working properly. And very kind people will take your call. They allow you to be anonymous if you like. Like I said before, you guys that watches this Q&A, and also the person who knows what happened, you can also just text the word tip to that number if you don't want to talk to anybody, and you still can remain anonymous. The form will come up, give the option to remain anonymous and things like that. You don't have to put your information in. You can use a burner phone to call this tip line, or to text us the word tip to this number and utilize that. So, you have all kind of avenues. I even open up to yourself. Hey, you want to be personal? You want to tell me in my face what happened to my son? You can also call my number down on the bottom of the screen. That's my cell phone number. It's not anonymous tip line, but it's a cell phone number. I will see your number. Whatever number comes up, I will be able to see that, because it's not going to come up unless you have your number private or something like that. And you can leave a voicemail. You can talk to me direct. You can send a text message. Unless you're using a burner phone, like I said, I can't promise, you'd be anonymous. But I can promise if you use the anonymous tip line, that's what anonymous tip line is for. It's for you to be able to say something to end the pain that me and my family suffer. It's very hard, you guys. If coming out here every time I have a Q&A, it's very hard to do this over and over again. After a while, it becomes like a pattern, but at the same time, it causes a lot of pain. And I was able to speak with Daniel's mother a few days ago, and she's still continually to go through a lot. So y'all need to think about that. Pray for her. Pray for his siblings. Pray for my entire family, and pray for me too, because I need it. So it's very hard. All right. Also, I want everybody to remember, yes, please go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, and for anything from how you can help, how you can donate, how you can sign a petition, look at special events, you name it. Everything is there. Here's some story about hear about Daniel's story. Everything is there that you need. I am working really hard right now. As you know, the Desert Special Operations Searches has been on pause for a while now, and that's mainly because of funding, and the other parts is because of some other reasons, because I'm very responsible. Like I told you guys, when you come out there to those searches, you're not just a volunteer, you're a family member, my extended family. And, I'm really grateful for what you do. So I want to make sure that you're safe, you have everything you need when you're out there searching for my son. You have families yourself, and I refuse to, put any family at risk of anything. Just looking for my son. My son is worth it to me. I love him to death, but at the same time, even Daniel would agree that, he would not have put somebody else at risk just to look for him. So that's the way we operate. So I just want to let you guys know I'm not giving up on my son. I still have to go out and do things on my own. But as it comes to the organized search, I had to put it on pause for various reasons. And I will be continuing, because there's some areas I mapped out and I still have there based on my last searches and things like that that need to be covered. Still need to be covered. it eats me up every day when I think about it. If I could have had one more search, maybe that search would have been fruitful to find Daniel. As y'all guys know, that I have the searches I have started have been fruitful. We brought a lot of families their loved one back. So some families their loved one back, and give them some sense of closure. Is unfortunately we have been finding human remains out there, and to bring some type of closure. When I say some type, because things is not the way that I'm sure any family. It's the way that's what bothers me and scares me. It's the manner that we're finding those remains. A person wouldn't want to bring a loved one home in that kind of condition. So, it's very, very hard and very, very hard to think about, but it happens. And but at least these families know exactly where the loved one was located and get some type of closure. So also, to volunteer, and if you guys want to help and volunteer in different ways, you got volunteer in other ways tab on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. You can also, because right now I'm still in the campaign to keep my son's story out there, working really hard on the investigative side, and also, like I said, just distribution of flyers and things like that. So I need help. I still continually help. I still continually need donations. As you know, you heard the clip in the beginning. Those donations have slowed and stalled and stopped. But you know what? God's been good. He's been sustaining. He's been keeping me here and also keeping me in the fight. So, but right now, you want to help in other ways tab. There's the flyers, the PDF. Also, still getting people who, a number of people I'm gathering together, people who want to be an ambassador for those flyers, to pass those flyers out for me in every city. I'm trying to reach every city in the United States. I'm still looking for that one person who may not listen to the Q&A, but know something, have seen something that day, but they have moved away. So I'm still looking for that person or persons, and to be able to get that information out to them. God bless somehow that Daniel escaped, and they just took his vehicle and did all of this, and he escaped somewhere, and he's somewhere in the United States, and some kind of way flyer information get out, and I could still get my son. So that's the whole bottom line, is what I'm working on. Is the bottom line is that I need my son and bring him home. So like I said, guys, it's coming up to a year. It is very hard to even imagine that this will be going on for a year. I talked to families who's been looking for their loved one for many years, and when I hear from them, they definitely sound like it happened just yesterday. Nobody goes away and say, hey, they just walk away from their family member and never remember them or just move on with life. I couldn't find myself to even think that I would be able to just move on without wondering what happened to my child, and trying to do everything I can to find them. So also, please share, like, and subscribe to the channel. You guys have got it up to 1,000 subscribers, and that's incredible. You got it up there, and I really grateful, because when you do that, it gives me an opportunity to do exactly what I'm doing here, is spreading the word. Give me the opportunity to put Daniel's story out there, Father. So if you are here, especially if you're new to watching this Q&A, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button right now. And that will, like I said, that will help me be able to get my reach out there a lot farther. So wherever the news stations had slowed and things like that, because they look for different stories. They're looking for things that would gather people's mind, something that's just a new story. My son's stories have been. My son went missing on June the 23rd last year. His story, the story of him disappearing, became old news, in other words. And that's why I tell families, if you can, no matter what, you have to keep your loved one's story alive, because it could get buried. And the way to do that is to create your own media, and that's what I'm doing. Whether it's Twitter, whether it's TikTok, and also the YouTube. That's what God bless us to have a mind to have things like social media. Humans. I'm saying to be able to develop communications with each other, and this is one way. It's a form. It's a platform. It's a tool. That's why I look at it as this channel as a tool to help myself, help my family. And the way to do so is to be able to get on here, do a Q&A, and reach out to as many people as I can. I first want to start off this morning and thank some of you who have came out to join this Q&A this morning. Some faces, some names I see often, so I know that you're here. Thank you, Tracy, for being here this morning. Thank you, Esther, for being here this morning. Again, Tub 883. Thank you for coming out this morning on this Q&A. Thank you, Sophia, for being here. I really appreciate you. Thank you for being here also as well and everything you do. Thank you also, Daisy, for being here on this Q&A. Angelica, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And again, just like you're saying, Sophia, thank you also. The Day of Remembrance, we can't forget about it. You guys can come out there. Please bring your tables, bring your photographs, and let's talk about your missing loved one. And that's exactly. And thank you, Sophia, for reminding me of that part. My team put that together, so I'm really grateful for you guys of getting this thing rolling. So don't forget, you guys. Yeah, if you have a missing loved one, please come out there. Like I said, we want to highlight and know your loved one's story, and try to make sure that everybody know, and someone may know. And like I said, all the stuff is important. That's why I'm doing this. All the stuff is important. It may be somebody. You come out to the event, you bring your loved one's story out there, and there may be somebody who knows something after all these years or all these days or whatever the case may be. Somebody may say something because they now know that you're out looking for this one person. Your person may still be run out there going by a different name, and they see this person's face based on some picture that you bring, and they say, hey, I've seen this person before. And then you can find your loved one. At least you have the answers to know what happened to your loved one. And me personally, I would rather, I'll say, not love, but I'd rather if, which I know it didn't happen. I'm just saying hypothetical. Daniel would say, hey, I want to be away from life and I just want to be gone. And he'd just say, hey, Dad, which he would have done. I know he would have really have confidence in that. Hey, I want to join a monastery and become a monk. I mean, we'll look at him like he's crazy. Like, dude, that's not like you. That don't sound like you. What does come from? Of course, we want to know those things from a family standpoint. But ultimately, Daniel already know, from my family, we definitely speak and communicate with each other. And we can tell each other anything. As a grown man, he know I respect all his decisions. So as much as he would have said that, and he said that's what he would have done, then we'd have been like, well, at least we know where he's located. He don't want to speak to anybody, but we know he's okay. That will settle our mind as a family. So I'm saying, sometimes it may be a case where a person wants to be away from life itself and just go off somewhere. I'm sure a family should know that person decided to do that. At least they won't be worried and looking and going through the streams like I have been doing for 11 months. All right, She Rose Nation, thank you for being here this morning. Tanya Beth, thank you for being here. Thank you, Laura, for being here. I really appreciate it. And, thank you. I see that real quick there. Thank you for that, sharing that, Laura. I dream and I pray, for that too, that, Daniel's found and I found him. I'm praying that it happened before this year is up. I want to bring some closure to my family, and I want to bring my son home alive. I rather, all of this being for nothing, and he's safe and he's okay, and that would make us very happy as a family. So yeah, I hope your dream come true, and I believe it'll come true. I'm gonna have faith and say it is gonna come true, and I really believe that. All right, thank you, Shauna, for being here, helping out in the as a moderator, helping out in the chats, and thank you for everything you're doing. I really appreciate you being here this morning. D-Love, thank you for being here this morning. Also as well, if I say your name twice, that's me. Come down in the comments. Like I said, if you guys have questions, please put the word question there first. Comment question for the big capital letter Q or some question marks as I'm coming down, because I will be coming down kind of quickly. Just saying hello to a few people, but I want to say good morning to everybody. If I miss your name, I apologize, but I just want to reach out to some and say, hey, this good morning as I'm coming down the comment section looking for questions. All right. So thank you, Shauna, for putting that up. Like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to do that if you guys haven't already. Like I said, that would definitely help what I'm doing here. I do have a first question here from T and the Wildflowers. Thank you, Flowers. Thank you again for being here on this Q&A. Mr. Robinson, had Buckeye Police Department provided you with any updates on their investigation since they said it's an active investigation? No, they have not. And that's the kind of thing I'm saying. And, I think, I don't care what I'm saying out in the public. I don't care. One thing I'm saying in the public is nothing that would be a lie or something. If they would have did the job in the first place, I would have all kind of praises for this department for all the work they've done. But they haven't done anything. They've been, instead of them doing the things they should have been doing, they were just trying to make themselves look good and things like that. So that's the problem that I had, and it caused. And I just tell the truth. I just tell the things that I know on the ground that I've been here. And if I'm lacking anything, it's because, like I said, what you're asking, them not updating us about anything, not saying anything. It's some things that if you have an investigation, I know from my standpoint, there's a lot of things you guys don't know that I know about my son's case. Of course, you don't tell everything. You can't tell everything. You have to sit there and talk about, sometimes I get tired of talking about the same thing over and over again, especially when I know some other details of things. But that's what you do when you're doing an investigation. However, at the same time, there are some things that you tell. That's why I have a Q&A, for instance. You keep communication with people. I keep communication with you guys because you have interest in my son's case. Of course, I'm not going to tell you, like I said again, what things I'm investigating or what I know. But at the same time, I do give you something to let you know that I am doing an investigation. I'm telling you, that's I'm doing my own personal investigation. So I had to put that out there. But no, they don't give me any kind of updates and things like that. So that's another problem. That's a big problem for myself. I reached out and asked, I had to call, and if I get any kind of, I have one. For instance, I'm using example. I have a lead that I'm following now, very hard, trying to get answers to. Also, that information was given to the Buckeye Police Department, which I did hear detective tell me that they're looking into it and doing an investigation on their own, in a sense, looking into it. And so he didn't use the word we're investigating, but he used the word he looking into it. But I'm saying investigating because he's going some deep, digging deep into the information was what he's telling me, right? So, but what he said he's doing will help provide me some answers to some stuff I'm lacking in my inability to get those kind of information. I'm not law enforcement, so I'm limited to a certain point, and that's a problem for me. That's when I rely on law enforcement to clear up some of those areas that I'm missing to be able to go. I don't have any arresting powers. I don't have any interrogation powers or to bring somebody in and things like that. I don't have that kind of authority. So, but they do. Have this police department have been working with me at the beginning, like really working with me instead of working, and that's exactly what I've been feeling like when I first started. My daughter was going out to this Buckeye Police Department, was going out doing what we can to try to locate Daniel at the time when I first got here. And I started looking at it, it's almost like they was working against me. They weren't working with me, they was working against me. I've been finding it hard to get some information that I really needed. That's why everything started going rogue. And like I said, one of the biggest divide that we had, I had from the Buckeye Police Department is once my investigator turned in all this physical evidence from the scene. He processed the stuff. Me and him had a meeting about it. He was so untrusting of the Buckeye Police Department. Being a former police officer, he was looking at the things they were doing, and he didn't even trust them. And we sat there and had a meeting trying to find another department to give the information that we had, because we wanted to make sure the information that we provided this department would be utilized the correct way. And we was debating on it, but we came to a conclusion. They are law enforcement. They was in charge of the case at the time, and they are. And so who else we could turn it into? And ultimately, we decided that we're going to work with the Buckeye Police Department. If they're willing to work with us, we need to work with them, and we're going to try to get these answers to find out what happened to my son. But once we turned that information in, it went a different way. They stopped talking to me. I didn't get no calls anymore. They started going on the defensive. They started doing everything they can to say, no, it happened the way we say it happened, and all this other evidence you guys got to say otherwise. Oh no, we're gonna prove that to be wrong. Not work with it. They tried to work against it. So far that they had hired their own private investigator. Now I already had my private investigator who's an accident reconstructionist. They hired an accident reconstructionist to debunk everything that my investigator came up with. So if you guys think about how they did that, this investigator they hired, another reconstructionist now, my investigative reconstructionist, they hired him just to say the opposite, right? Of what the discrepancies in the mileage and things like that. They went as far as, this guy have never seen my son's vehicle. This guy has never physically touched it. Like I said, haven't physically seen it, haven't touched his clothing, none of that kind of stuff. Didn't even look at the mileage on the vehicle himself. This guy's been working on third-party information, and also this is a sick part of it. Went to a dealership, didn't do due diligence and go to Jeep. And the reason why I'm telling you guys, Buckeye did not go to Jeep manufacturers and the people who actually make this vehicle, is because they know what they're going to say. They're going to tell them the truth. What y'all thinking, what my investigator said is correct. It's always going to match, because if it don't, then they have to do a recall on that vehicle, and they know that wasn't going to happen. So what they did, in my opinion, went to a Jeep dealership in their town or somewhere here in Arizona, and went to go knock on some coworkers, some worker out their shoulder, and say, hey, what you think about this? And I'm sure, I don't know if they asked about 5 or 10 of them just to get what answer they want, but they asked somebody there, some work at a dealership. I mean, I could work at a dealership and learn a little bit about a vehicle. And that's what they call it. They witness, character witness about to back up their story. You know, that somehow my son read this thing. He according to the Buckeye wanted us to believe that my son did all of this to himself just to get away from his family. He did it. I mean, he's a mastermind. He did all of it to himself to get away from his family. Just disappeared on his own. He did all that. He went through all that extremes for almost 30 days to extremes just to say, hey, I want to get away from my family. Really? Come on. So that's the kind of thing. So I'm saying that's what happens. And I said they haven't been supportive and anything. That breakup happened once we gave them the information that we found. So, but some of the information they to this day they try and take credit for. So I watched them do that as well. All right, thank you, profiling manipulation. Thank you for being here this morning in this Q&A and support. I really appreciate all of you guys that are coming out in support. I'm still going out of the comment section looking for anybody who have any questions. I do have one from Shauna. Thank you, Shauna, for being here on this Q&A and also moderating and everything else you do. When did the Buckeye Police Department give you their multiple theories at the meeting or over a period of days? Well, you know, the first theory came, like I said, from the scene. I mean, after the scene, the vehicle this picture here came from July the 19th. On July the 20th, the next day, almost a little over 24 hours later, they alerted me that my son's vehicle was found. Whatever they were doing the whole entire day, in my mind, I don't know what they're doing. I doubt it was any investigative work because they didn't find a human skull that was close to there that we found there. You know, whatever they was doing that day, they didn't decide to tell me. After I was already out here doing searches on my own with volunteers out there on the ground, searching that area where the well site is. They know I was out there every week with hundreds of people from their city and also everywhere else. And they decided to tell me all over 24 hours later that my son's vehicle was found. They know I was in Arizona back from. They even went as far as telling the rancher. They told him 2 things. As soon as they came out to the scene, he called them out there. They came straight to him and say, "Don't alert the family and don't alert the media." Whatever reason, even though I was out there, that's exactly what they told him at the beginning. But so the theories came from the detective who was out there, who called me out there the next day. Like I said, my son did sustain any injuries. He said the vehicle flipped and rolled because he didn't see the blood in the vehicle. He didn't sustain the injury, but at the same time saying that he had a brain injury And so those theories came from it started from him. What do you think would happen? Also, once we got to the police compound, the second theory was that he somehow just wanted to be away from us and join the monastery, become a monk. And so those theories was hashed from that, and they stuck with that. They stuck with that to say that there's and it proved that they told us they came out publicly say there's no more leads to follow. That's where I got the news clipping from. They even put in the local news here have that. That's where I got the information from, and also I got it from their Facebook page where they had it out there, and they told me personally they didn't have any more leads to follow. And also they told my investigator they didn't have no leads, any investigation. That's why they gave everything over to him. So those theories is stuck. Their theories, their theories came from the beginning, and they stuck with that. And they're doing everything they can, not working with me, but doing everything they're working against me to prove that their theory is right. Right? Instead of looking elsewhere to say, hey, maybe our theory is wrong, we need to look here. No, they stuck with it to the point they hired their own private investigator. That's accident reconstruction, like I said, to say exactly just that. To stick with that one theory that I think, in my opinion, well, hopefully that I would just went back to South Carolina and just say, hey, well, nobody can find my son. And that's not going to happen, not on my watch. So the theories happened, like I said, started on July the 19th when the vehicle was found. So thanks for that question. I really appreciate it. I do have another question from Laura. Any new updates? Yes, I have some new ones, but the new ones is based on investigation. Like I said before, that's one thing I'm investigating. I'm investigating multiple things. Of course, a lot of theories also as well. And but this one new deal is still currently being taken care of, and that's where the new updates will be coming from, pending information I get from that. So, yes, thank you, Larnell, for being here. Thank you for being part of the team and everything you're doing in the background. Really appreciate you being here, sir. God bless you for everything. I do have a question here from Kimberly. When will the Nancy Grace episode air? And they haven't called me. I was going to call them today. They're supposed to call me on yesterday, and we haven't filmed it yet or taped it yet, or what you would call it. But yes, it's hopefully I would get some information about that today. And I was just thinking about that this morning. I woke up. I was really busy yesterday, and said, "Wait a minute, they're supposed to call me yesterday." So here it is, Wednesday, and because they had postponed it, like I said, to this week. Because Nancy Grace has some things going on, and so hopefully they call me like I said today. But like I said, I'm gonna call them once I get off this Q&A to verify everything and see when that will happen. So y'all look out for that. Look out for that, and I'm really grateful to be on her platform to share my son's story. So that'll be a very good thing for this case to get it highlighted and to get more information out there. So Day of Remembrance again, thank you, Shauna, is on June the 25th, 2022 at 6:30 to 10 p.m. You can sign up on or Eventbrite. You can use the Eventbrite link there that you have there in the chats. You can sign up RSVP there. And, would love to be a part. If you want to also go on policehelpfinddane.com under the events tab, you can go there as well. But please, guys, come out, especially if you have a missing loved one, and you want to bring your table, your flyers, pictures, whatever the case may be, highlighting your loved one. So it's for you. It's for all of us. So it's for everybody who want to support. So if you come out there, definitely would like to see you out there and in support of my family and also many others. So. All right. Also, let's see here. I got here Queen NP. Thanks for being here on this Q&A. Thank you, Nikki O'Shea, for being out here on this Q&A. I do have a question from Rachel Arnold. Thank you, Rachel, for coming out this morning and being part of Q&A from the YouTube side. According to the Buckeye Police Department, targeted searches are part of their investigation yet to occur. And have they given you any an explanation as to why they can't or won't do so now that they are investigating? In my opinion, they do everything. Everything you guys read and everything they say, from my experience, it's a PR campaign. It's PR campaign, meaning that to me, I don't see the actions on the ground. You know, like I'm saying this, and I keep beating like a dead horse in a sense. Actions speak louder than words. I can say I love my son. I can say I'm looking for my son, and I can have my hands folded right here on this Q&A, for instance. And I'm not saying I'm not doing anything. I say, hey, yeah, I'm looking for my son. Y'all help me, blah blah blah, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, right? Until somebody actually see actions behind that. That is just words. I've been on the ground. I'm out there in the desert for 10 months searching for my son. Not just on the organized searches, but on my own. Things like that. I'm out in the streets walking blocks and blocks with volunteers, passing out flyers, putting them on cars and things like that. Those are actively doing something. I'm doing investigation, write down stuff, keeping information, recordings, and filing everything to try to make sure I get a clear view of what happened to my son. Those are actions and things like that. So I could put anything in words and say anything here on this Q&A, but action speaks louder than the words, and I haven't seen any actions yet. So sometimes when I hear people say what the Buckeye Police Department say in their report, I'd be like, damn, they report. Their report don't mean nothing to me. It's like a piece of paper with black words on it, and that's all it is. It's not worth anything they even wrote it on. I'd like to see the actions. I'd like to see them reach out to my family, reach out to me, or give me some answers. I haven't gotten any answers yet. I just got empty promises, or what we're doing and without actions, like I said. So I don't take nothing as stock of what that department has to say because they have yet to produce anything. Like I said, they say they did all these searches and these target searches they claim they're doing, and they didn't even found a construction cone out there. I keep saying it over and over again to you guys. What have they found? What have they done? Produce something. They're not producing anything. They're worthless to me. So I'm saying, like, what are they producing? They're not producing anything. So they can write what they want to write, and they can have the FBI believe some lie, say, oh, they're doing a great job, and have some of these I'm pro police, some of these other kind of pro police people out there say, oh man, the Buckeye police been doing a great job because they wrote on a piece of paper. Were you there with them when they did such and they said they did this? No. They're just words. It is words to me. I'm here on the ground. I know exactly what's going on. I know what they haven't done and what they don't. And it's weird because the things I do know what happened in my son's case, some things I haven't heard them even speak about it yet. Some little detailed things that I do know that I can't share with the public. And I haven't had them spoke to me about it yet because they probably don't even know because they're not doing the job. They didn't know something simple that I did put out before, for instance, that it's a possibility my son been working all night based on what was found in his phone that I was able to pull back up myself through Google. So some work that I done, some little due diligence, some work they could have, little small things they could have done to understand what happening to my son. So it is a bunch of crap. It's a bunch of stuff. So according to, like I said, according to Buckeye Police, that targeted searches is BS to me. Those talk, just like I use the word certain words, or we using targeted searches. So to an average reader, like, man, they've been targeted. They focus on this one little spot. I mean, come on now, those are words. It sound good words. It's PR campaign words. For them to look good. So that's what made me angry. So sometimes some of the questions like that, and I thank you for the question. I want you to continue to do so. But it makes me angry when I had to sit there and think about how many months I've been out here and how hard I've been working, and the BS I had to put up with, and the pain and suffering, not even being able to grieve my own son properly, and to know that they're putting everything out there to try to make themselves look good. And 9 times out of 10, the media and everybody else alike will just take their word for stock just because it's a word, because they wearing a blue uniform, whatever color uniform they wearing, and a badge and a gun, and they to me people who's not doing the job. So and just knowing that, but people would take it a stock because they wrote it. All right, I do have a question from Shauna about how long after Daniel went missing or the Jeep being found did the Buckeye Police Department have their meeting with you and gave you the final report? It's been about 3 days after that. After the 19th, I'll say probably on the 21st or something like 21st or 22nd, when we had that meeting. And you know, God is good, because the ironic part of that is the vehicle showed up. Think about this. First of all, I was out there. I want to back up a little bit because it's something I want to add in here. I was given an alert. Some guy came on the Buckeye Police Department's Facebook page, and my family alerted me about it. He had a picture of a vehicle look just like my son's vehicle, but it's real blurry picture, but it looked like my son's vehicle from the back. I never seen my son's vehicle to this, well, other than what I've been shown twice. I've seen it. I only seen it twice when, like I said, when Buckeye showed it to my investigator. But as in before that time, I have never seen my son's vehicle in person. The only time I see my son's vehicle was a picture that he gave me. Now, based on that picture and the research I was doing at the time on that vehicle, the Jeep Renegade, I had a pretty good idea of what my son's vehicle looked like. Me and my daughter, we used to go back and forth about what color that vehicle really is. A lot of people do, whether it's some kind of metallic green or sky green or whatever kind of, I mean, a blue, I should say metallic blue, sky blue or something like that. It wasn't determined. But anyway, this picture was very, very blurry. But this guy said he found it on. I'm not gonna put the road out there anymore. A lot of you guys know who've been following this, following the story for a long time, know where I'm talking about. But it been found in this area, right? And I asked my daughter about it. I was really, really like worried because it looked just like his vehicle. And I immediately called the Buckeye Police Department detective Biffin. And I said, hey, man, I say, you know, this guy was on your page and he put his picture up of a vehicle like my son. And it's, and if I can finish my season, it's not your son's vehicle. I'm like, well, how you know that? Have you been out there? No, I just know it ain't your son's vehicle. Well, how you know that? You know, have you been out there? So can you please go out there and check it out? After a little static, he decided to say, hey, well, okay, yeah, I sent a cruiser out to look at the vehicle and see if it's his vehicle, right? And so in the meantime, I'm very excited to go out there and find out if this is my son, indeed, vehicle that me and my daughter at time is scouring all across Arizona to look for. And when I say Arizona, Phoenix and Buckeye. And so I asked her, did she know the name of this road? This guy gave me the name of the road. She said, yeah, she'd been seeing it off the interstate. She know where it's at pretty much. Before I can get ready out my hotel room to go pick her up, the gentleman, he called me back and said, Mr. Robinson, I was just out there again, and the vehicle is gone. I mean, I was just literally out there about like an hour prior, and the vehicle's gone. I said, that's strange. I said, the Buckeye Police Department said they're going to send a cruiser to go out there and check the vehicle out. He said, yeah, I seen the Buckeye Police Department's vehicle pass by, but the vehicle's gone. And so, okay. I called Detective Biffin back, and to this date, he won't tell me. I asked him, hey, you need to find out who towed that vehicle away so we can make sure it's not Dane's vehicle. He cannot give me the answer to this date, who towed that away, right? So me and my daughter decided to go up there anyway and to go ahead and check this area out. And when we got up there, of course, sit out there on the ground trying to do stuff. I had some friends of mine that I met here in Phoenix. One has happened to be a police officer at the time, and came out there. Make a long story short, that's when we found out that the area there was very highly racist. Bunch of white guys in the pickup truck, you know, yelling out those things to us. So, you know, that's the time when we finally got there, because the officer told me, being a black officer, she said, hey, look, that's a sundown town. It's known to being a sundown area, and you need to get your family out of there before it get dark. So we got out of the area. 2 days later, all of a sudden I get a call from 2 days later or so, I think, well, 2 days later the vehicle showed up on the 19th, but 20th, got a call about the vehicles out there in the desert on the 19th, which was 2 days after that point. So that was strange by itself to me, right? But the meeting, like I said, happened because you know, when that was going on, I did have some ties of people that I met in Arizona who secured, knew the chief of police, Chief Hall, knew him in the Buckeye Police Department, and it gave me an opportunity to have a meeting with him, because I wanted to have a sit down with them. I had so many questions because I was doing my own investigation into what happened to my son, and I needed these questions answered. So they was able to secure that meeting with me. And I didn't know all this was going to happen. I didn't know the bill was going to show up and all that stuff. But the meeting was already set up for the certain specific date. Like I said, it's like 2 or 3 days. Happened to end up being 2 or 3 days after this vehicle showed up. So that's when I was first had those meeting with them. And in that meeting, did take one observer with me, and also I recorded that meeting. And so we were there, and that's why I got answers to knowing they didn't do any forensic work on the scene, to me requesting them to do fingerprinting on that vehicle. I mean, I even requested them to put a tarp on the vehicle because I thought it was going to rain while they was waiting to do this fingerprinting. Once they finished fingerprinting, in the meantime, like I said, I ended up getting my private investigator, and was able to go ahead and pull that vehicle out of there into a secure location. So, but in that meeting, they did give me a final report. I did request these pictures. That's what I have possession of these pictures. Chief Hall said he's gonna give me all the pictures, because what happened was they only gave me one picture at the time that I can go by. This one little picture. That's very I'm telling you how disrespectful they are. Gave me one picture, and in the meeting the whole time he kept using pictures, the word plural, and I got really uptight. I say, wait a minute, man, you keep using the word pictures with an S, but I only have this one picture. Where's the damn pictures at? Where are all these pictures that you claim you have? And he promised me all the pictures, everything they had, which Detective Biff put on the thumb drive, still have it to this day, flash drive, all the pictures that came from the scene. And I'm telling you, they claiming they did all this helicopter search and the man flying so low, hanging out the window, all this kind of crap. I have yet to see any helicopter footage that they claim. And I agree with the rancher said. His story always fans out. He said, there were no helicopter searches out there, but that's what they put in their report. So I'm just saying, just because they put something on paper don't mean it actually happened and it actually is true, because the rancher said there wasn't no helicopters out there. And matter of fact, there wasn't no cadaver dogs or any other kind of dog. It's only one dog. This guy told me a lot. And this was stuff he got on recorded testimony. Also, as well as, like I said, they said it themselves. They put it. They say two different things. That's why y'all read that report. Y'all keep asking me, just don't go with what they said here, and this because they making things up, in my opinion, as they go, and they messing themselves up. It's getting deeper and deeper into a hole. To me, in my opinion, it's like when you're a kid, your parents say, "Don't lie," because you got to cover up that lie with another lie. And all thing it's going to be is a big old hole, big old giant lie. And that's what it's starting to look like. Because their stuff is not consistent and don't make sense. Because it don't make sense because they're trying to stick with what they're trying to stick with and try to make things look as if they was doing something at the beginning, which they haven't. All right. Profile and manipulation. Thanks for being here. Would dolls be of any help? Did they try dolls on Daniel's scent? It's amazing to me. If Daniel was out there, right, and they're using all these cadaver dogs and he's tracking dogs that night, they said that day they said it was out, but there's only one dog that night. The guy told me, the rancher, 10 o'clock at night, right? And they did all of that, and these dogs, and I'm telling you something, all the pictures they gave me, I have not seen that one dog in a daylight picture. And so it kind of go consistent with what the rancher said. They only had one dog, and it was at nighttime, 10 o'clock at night. Because I haven't seen that one picture they gave me with any dog in the scene. And just like he said, I mean, this stuff he said before they gave me this information. There was only about 6 officers out there, I think he said, with one razor. I mean, everything he said, it reflects in these pictures that I have. As in that question right there, you imagine if you had cadaver dogs out there, you'd have found the human skull that we found, volunteers found out there near the scene, right? With all their dogs, they got these little specialized dogs. Also, they told me in that meeting, because I asked them that about them tracking anything. From their theory, the only thing I can go by is what they gave me. And they said, well, our dogs didn't pick up no scent. We didn't pick up no track, no scent, but you see the clothing on the ground. If that's Daniel's clothing, the scent, all they need is right there. Whatever's in the vehicle, all they need is right there, right? They say, they ain't found nothing. Again, I say it over and over again, they haven't found a construction cone out there. Nothing. I was questioning their searches. I question those things because I could write, and I used that analogy before, I could write that I went to go search for in my cabinets in the kitchen. Somebody say, David, go in there and get a jar of grape jelly, find the grape jelly out there and bring it here. I go in that cabinet, open it up, I ain't moving nothing around and take my eyes and kind of look around and close back up and say, I don't see no great jelly. I didn't find any. Anybody could do that, but I could say I looked. Oh yeah, I went in the cabinet and looked, but I didn't do anything. And that's the same kind of way I think that his department been approaching my son's case. They take a dog out there and say cadaver dogs with an S, and we had search dogs. And then they took a drone out there and say, yeah, we had air footage, and we used a helicopter and low flying helicopter dragging the ground or whatever it's doing. Just things like that. So no, if they had a dog out there, like they say they have, the clothing's right here. The clothing, his scent is right there. They didn't track him. They told me, Ms. Rouse, we didn't see any tracks, no footprints. Supposedly my son walking barefooted. No footprints, no tire tracks. And the explanation of that is because it was raining, right? It was raining so hard that to this day, I can still find the tracks out there. And it rained so hard that day, I guess, only in history of Arizona, that it washed away everything where there's no footprints, no nothing. But you can go out here to this date. Here it is, the 1st of June, 2022, a year later, and almost a year later, and still see tracks from with a vehicle going down that terrain to other tracks that's in that area there, stuff like that. So that's crap. That's very much crap. But anyway, thank you again for your question. If you guys do have questions, please put a question mark there along with your question. That'll help me as I'm coming down. I just happened to see yours, profile and manipulation. So I'm grateful that I was able to get it. But if you guys have some in the future, please put the question mark there, the capital letter Q or the word question before your question. And that helped me as I'm coming down the comment section. I do have another one from Shauna. Thank you, Shauna, for your question. All right. Other than the drones and ATV, UTV, what type of supplies are needed for desert searches? Well, you always had a drone, but we definitely need the things like we have in the command center. One of the problems I have out there in the command center is having medical supplies and things like that. We definitely had one lady. She was, oh my gosh, she would get me if I forget her name, but we definitely have a medical person out there, and we try to utilize that as much as we can when the person come out and able to provide that kind of stuff for us. That's very helpful. And she's a volunteer as well, so it wasn't like someone I just went out to go find, but she happened to be a volunteer who have knowledge of medical needs and the help in medical needs, like a medic. So we need those type of people there, of course, but we definitely, like I said, need those supplies. We have to make sure that I have water and things like that, that everything that's needed out there from the command center. But one thing I was grateful for is Mr. Short. He was out there with provide some of those equipment like a command center, pretty much like the computer to keep up the mapping and things like that. But we definitely need a command center to have provided some of those things that we need there for people's safety. And that's the biggest part is those kind of things out there. So to have a list of things, I definitely would put those lists of things out there for people, but definitely need our water, need to make sure people have the electrolytes and things they need at the command center. So it's some needs out there, and we got to keep those things going. But as in, like you said, the equipment and things like that, the UTVs and things like that, yeah, they definitely is needed as well. But myself personally, I need some other things outside of the UTVs, ATVs and stuff. And those things that come from the law enforcement standpoint. Like I said, they was giving those things, so I want to make sure that I'm able to get it myself. And those are the kind of things I need as well. So thank you for those questions right there, Shauna. If you guys can please help some kind of way, you can go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. I definitely want to get the searches back up and get it running and get people, out there safely, get everybody back out there safely and things like that. So thank you so much. All right. Kimberly, thank you so much for your question. And you guys have questions, please do as Kelly do as well. The word question first, question mark, like Shauna did there, or big capital letter Q that helped me as I come down the comment section. When he was at the store and doesn't Was at the store and does it $3 was that before, after? Okay, was at the store was it $3, I guess, on the gas purchase, or the purchase at the gas station, before or after the well site? It was before, what I was told. He was on the way up to, he did another well site around 7 o'clock that morning, but that was between that time, that first well site and the second. After going to the website, okay, why haven't you been able to get video to verify him and his clothing? And that's the thing, like I'm saying, it's the way I take it from my point of view is it's kind of ironic or convenient is the word I like to use. Like I was saying, when I look at certain things, it's almost like it's been used to work against me getting information about what happened to my son than to help me find out what happened to my son. For instance, my family and I, my daughter, we're out there pushing to get just regular old camera footage from him at the traffic light. You know what I'm saying? Traffic light. You know, we have all those cameras, all those big main cameras at traffic light. And not one time did they ever, to this date, the history of Daniel being in Arizona, have any kind of footage him ever come riding through Arizona, period. Right? The only footage they had on him on the traffic, what they said was when a month prior, before he went missing, we knew he goes up to California to see his sister. In California, camera, they were somehow able to get footage off a camera in California off an interstate, but they can't get none at a light, nowhere. That's convenient. They're not able to get cell phone pings they were asked for. And then first they said they were gonna do it. One officer said, then the big higher up came, no, we can't do it because we ain't gonna get a warrant or something. Find convenient ways not do it. Also, then we found out my son had a Uconnect in his vehicle, almost like an OnStar. And they claiming they couldn't get that. Then later say, oh yeah, we talked to Uconnect and the grid came up all zeros. They conveniently, it came up all zeros. We asked about this bank. That came from a bank statement we had. We weren't brought up to the department. It ain't like they did the work to find out about this gas purchase. That came from the information we have to this date about my son's bank records and things like that. And they say they had when they got some footage. They had Daniel on. They saying that he purchased some gas, $3 or whatever it was, of gas. And which is strange to me and the family. We're like, I want to see that, of course. We want to see it. They say they have it, and they haven't showed it to this day. Because, in my opinion, it's probably not even Daniel, and they know that. And then the other part is the Waffle House. They say they had video footage of him at the Waffle House telling me the whole story. Yeah, your son came in, got something to eat, sat there for a while, and then he got up, paid his fast food, and left. Then I said, well, I want the video footage. I want to see it myself. They didn't give me the video. They gave me pictures of the video, right? But you know what? The weird part about it, they just did total on itself. But I tell you guys, I do my own investigation, and Buckeye have a lot of questions to answer about that Waffle House experience, by the way, because those are things I definitely can't put out in the public, but they have a lot of questions to answer when I analyze the pictures. I'm a very intelligent guy. When I analyze the pictures that they gave me, would paint a totally different story than what they told me. The Buckeye Police Department told me, the police itself. So they have a lot of answers on that question. So when it comes to that what you're saying, that gas purchase there, Kimberly, why they don't have video and stuff like that of him wearing, like I said, that's the reason why it's important for me to get this clothing. The forensics done those clothing. I don't even know those even Daniel's clothing, to this day. I saw my investigator, which I was really disappointed with when I saw the Paramount, my ex-investigator. He's not my investigator anymore, but he was taking doing the Paramount film footage, and he was just taking my son's, allegedly my son's clothes out of those evidence bag and holding it up to the camera and just handling it that way. That was bizarre to me, to see that on camera. And every time I look at that Paramount thing, it makes me angry with him on that part. Now, I can't say that because, there could be DNA there. There could be all kind of things going on. And, you need to preserve, and it should be in the right environment to be able to be showing some camera people because they paramount. I don't care who they are. This is my son's case, and it should be handled a certain way. And it's sad that I'm trying to get the forensics done on all the stuff when that should have been done by the department there on the scene. That should be taped off and should have been. Even if they don't see it as a crime for whatever reason outside of what we see, they should have processed it that way. That type of stuff. Anyway, we can go ahead and rehash all that again, but I think about that sometimes too. But anyway, I do have a question here from D Love. Question, Mr. Robinson, are you still shots from the Waffle House timestamp? Oh yeah, yes, I have all of that. That's what I'm saying. That's the thing. One thing that was helpful for me in my investigation when it comes to that Waffle House thing is a timestamp. And they can take all the pictures they want to of the video they gave me, the pictures of the video. It don't match the story they gave me. They said some woman who's outside of the picture they gave me, some woman worker saying, "Oh yeah, Daniel," and that's another thing that made me angry. Oh, Daniel, they say, "Oh, Daniel," this because they want that theory to keep going that something's wrong with my son. He was acting strange or odd or something. Some woman who never met my son before. My son, this is his first time ever going to that Waffle House. He have never. We all, when I say we all, my family, we were surprised that even Arizona even had a Waffle House. We thought it was a Southern thing. We thought it came from South Carolina, Georgia, possibly Florida, states like that. Well, we was really shocked to even see one out. But Daniel said he found one. That was his first time there. So how's this lady giving comments about him like he's a regular customer? That type deal. So, it's that kind of stuff I see in the report. And that's what I'm saying. Is that, and also the fact I'm keep pushing that out, that I say he was in love with a woman he didn't know. I never said none of that. My daughter ain't even said nothing. She's mad about that. Never said that he was in love. He never even expressed that. Never said anything about being in love with anybody. So why would we come up with something and make up some story that ain't true? So thank you, Sophia, putting this out right here because it's true. The Robinson family appreciate you all for your love, support, and we do. And that's why I'm glad you guys are here. Your questions help me out, especially in terms of my investigation too, as well, and private investigator, because you know what, those questions make me think. I can't think of everything, but you guys, that you help as well. So, all right, question from Brittany. Thanks for being here on the Facebook. Has the co-worker who he was last seen with given any insight, or has been questioned? He's been questioned. He's been questioned by my former investigator. I'm sure he's gonna be questioned by a new one. And also, I question him. But I have yet to hear anybody take him into an interrogation room. Usually at this length of time, my son been going on a year that he's been missing. That theory of the Buckeye Police Department is dead. That theory is dead. It no longer exists. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it's no, we don't see no possible foul play happening here or anything like that. We just see a missing person. My son been missing almost a year, without a trace, according to them, right? And people don't just disappear. So you don't see nothing wrong with that. He just really that good to disappear and don't want, because he didn't want to be seen from a family, from a guy who all the scenarios. Just think about this. They so pent up on wanting my son to have done this to himself that they went as far as bringing up some girl situation, going to these co-workers the workers say he's a field geologist. We go through all of that. They went through all that streams, but not one time listen to what the family's saying. First of all, we don't feel that that's what Daniel would do. First of all, we know him, his character. I know him from birth. I'm not some stereotype that they probably have in their brain, but I'm a black man who's always been in my family's, my children's life from the day they were born, come out their mother's body. So being there, and I know my son. And the other part is they never even asked the questions about, or really got deep into the questions of, my son built a computer. He just finished building his computer, brand new computer. Very proud of me. Him talking about, I'm a computer engineer major, and we talk very proud of the computer he just built for himself. So he'll have to use that work computer anymore. Just finished it days before he went missing. Not only that, he had plans that weekend to go out hiking with his sisters. We had plans in July for me to come out to Arizona to see his vehicle the first time and spend time with them because we're far away from each other now. My children left South Carolina to go expand their horizons. You know, they didn't ask those kind of questions and dwell on those parts and say, hey, that don't make sense for this man to say he want to uproot and just leave his life really quickly or something. Something's wrong with that. So they don't want to see that part. They want to put on the narrative and keep this theory going about themselves because they don't want to do anything. And to say he just disappeared on his own and things like that. So when it comes to that coworker, the last person that usually when the last person has seen someone, and especially they've been missing this long, that's the person that you interrogate the most. That's when you start digging into their life. That's when you start digging into their story, like I did outside of the searches. Like I said, I go out in the desert sometimes, and I did a video. You guys can go on YouTube here and find it. But do the video to actually vet this man's story, ride around and go with the knowledge that I do know about that terrain for over a year. I mean, I'm not over a year, over several months now, and I learned about the terrain from over the time. What I want to say really was the going through the monsoon season to whatever, right? And the things I learned about that terrain is that those tracks do not just wash away, and many people, believe it or not, rise through that desert a lot. You know, I go out there to the desert, so we go out there early in the morning, and those tracks that we had from months ago is still there. We have different tracks that may be there, but it's never been a time, even after a rain, we say, "Hey, that's a fresher looking track than that one." You know, it don't work that way out there in that kind of terrain, whatever's going on, and it don't rain like that. Haven't rained like that last year, so. Heck, I look at it. We got 0% rain now here in Arizona, so it is so much of that BS that I hear. But I think those things could have been vetted, and his story should have been torn apart. And he should have been in the interrogation room. And like I said again, the only persons I know that been in the interrogation room in the Buckeye police interrogation room involving my son's case, it is me and my daughter. They shouldn't have had us come out there and come into the back of their compound through their little gate off of, I forgot the name of this road. And when I look at hindsight, look back, that was a freaking interrogation room. Why they got us in the interrogation room asking us the questions, me and my daughter, and looking at our phones to find out information about his phone records and bank statements, stuff like that. But anyway, T and Wildflower, thank you so much for being here this morning again. You do have a question here. Did Civil Air Patrol explain how it was possible for them not to spot the vehicle if it was there on the day of their search? No, they didn't explain it, but they showed have it marked on a map that day, and that was on July the 9th. But they didn't explain it. I don't say it was marked on their map. It's on Buckeye's map. They the one created that map. But Civil Air Patrol, a bunch of retired Air Force guys. And there's two aircrafts. Y'all, see, I'm saying they be just making things up. I videotaped this thing, this event, if you want to call it. And the reason why I take it, I was a little uptight, is I was wondering why, when we got there, why they didn't allow us in the gate. I talked to the detective. Those guys did show up. These bunch of old guys in these white pickup trucks. When I say, well, you know what? I want to go in and help you guys search for my son. And, oh, no, you can't come in here, blah, blah, blah. Mr. Rogers, you can't come in and help us, whatever. I don't know. He said, I don't know. I'm going to talk to these guys and see if they don't mind you tagging along or whatever the case may be or whatever. I'm like, what do you mean you don't mind if I tell you, this is my son? Make a long story short, he told me no, they don't want me to come in with them to search for my son in that gate, right? And they shut the gate, locked it, and then put a vehicle. So one of the guys all of them went down there to go down in the desert, I guess, to go search for him. They had one of them to stay, and he turned his vehicle and turned it sideways to block the gate to make sure I didn't come in there. I mean, it's weird to me. So why they didn't find anything, or I could tell you, since I couldn't follow them in there, I stood out there on that roadway with my binoculars, and I watched them drive down which I know now, that mile before you make that T-junction, make that right to go north. I watched them when they turned to go north towards the well site. Now I know that well site is only, from that junction there, is only all the way to the end of that roadway, dead end, it's like almost 2 miles, right? And So they couldn't go that far. And they was in these little pickup trucks. They weren't going roading. They wasn't doing nothing, none of that searching. They just riding down whatever available dirt road that is. And I have never seen them come back out of there. They went down up north. And of course, because the rain, they go down in these little ravines area. Of course, I lost track of them from there, but I know they didn't come back to the left. And like I said, they say they will do 2 passes with their aircraft with Civil Air Patrol. They'll do 2 passes. I mean, I know what 2 passes mean. They only did 1. With a Fitz aircraft, they only did 1 pass. That thing came past one time going towards north. And after that, that plane, no plane ever showed up again. And so for them to say they had 2 aircrafts out there, it wasn't. So but they have that in the report. They had 2 aircrafts. I was there. So and I videotaped. I was there. So, that's what the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Actions speak louder than words. This is stuff they can put in a report, but don't mean it actually happened on the ground. So that's not the way things happen. So Civil Air Patrol didn't come up with a construction cone either. All them guys is out there. I say it was about like 6 trucks, probably like 2 people per truck. And those guys didn't find a construction cone. They ain't find a pink yellow elephant or giraffe or anything out there. They ain't found nothing. And came back empty-handed every time. Buckeye came out empty-handed every time, But in my searches, we coming out with something every time. Cell phones to article clothing in a pile to human remains. We find things out there because we're actually looking. We're actually trying to find Daniel. And in doing so, we found other things. So it's all of that puzzles me. And it's too late. It's a little too late for them. Like I told you guys, the first 24 to 48 hours is very crucial when it comes to a missing person. And we're going to make sure, I'm going to push in everything I can to make sure laws change to reflect that, because I will talk to some of these Congress people, or somebody going to have to get something going to change that the way police approaches missing person cases, assuming the best first and then go look for the worst. No, you got to assume the worst first and work your way backwards to prove that this person is okay. So that's the way it should go. All right, rumors. Thank you so much for being here off of YouTube. Were there any? Here's your question: were there any other tire tracks other than Daniel around the vehicle? I can't tell. One thing the rancher did share with us, he pointed out. You see all these tracks y'all got right here, all this stuff here. That wasn't there. It wasn't there. As to date, and so many people travel through there, where CNN rolled along, did a ride along with me, to News Nation, whoever, to volunteers. We're out there on the ground every week, and some during the weekdays. It's all kind of tracks out there now. So it's nearly too impossible to determine what belongs to what. Unless you do tire measurements and things like that. I don't know. But, some science, I'm sure. But as in just looking at it, it's tracks everywhere. The rancher was describing how on that date, there was no trail and things like that. So that's why he was able to pinpoint certain things. But that's early on when the vehicle was first found. It was easier to see certain things. And one thing I haven't noticed myself personally is a bunch of tracks. I did see the tracks where they pull the vehicle out, tow truck and things like that. I didn't realize that the tracks of the vehicle travel the way it came down that ravine at an angle until my investigator pointed it out. You can actually see it. And I think the way they was able to see some of those tracks too, if you take a drone and you take it up so many thousand feet and you kind of look downward, and you can see the tracks a lot clearer from the air or something. Not 1,000 feet, but 100 feet up, and you can see tracks a lot clearer. So, thank you, Carolyn, for being here this morning for Q&A. Thank you for everything you've done out there in the searches. Like I said, part of the family. Also, thank you for your service to this country, and thank you for being my battle buddy and friend. I really appreciate all your hard work you've done. I miss seeing your face. I hope I get to see you again, maybe this weekend for the flyer distribution. But definitely, we'd love to see your face again. Thanks for being here this morning. All right, Brooklyn squad, real life drama. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. Can I please have your email? I need to tell use something. Yes. You go to pleasehelpfinddaniel@yahoo.com. Pleasehelpfinddaniel@yahoo.com. For anybody, you need an email address. You guys can send some information there if you have something. You want to tell me something? Yes. Also, utilize that number. I'll put it on the screen down the bottom again. Also, you can reach me at the public cell phone number. And I can tell you guys, I know there's an influx of messages I have there, and I will be taking time pretty soon to go through each and every one of them. I do every time. I always check my go through my message eventually. Sometimes it takes days because of the numbers, and then all the other things I'm doing throughout the day. So I get really busy. But yeah, I will be going through that. Hopefully some today. And so if you also can use the number Brooklyn Squad. You can use the number on the bottom of the screen that's strolling there for text message, call, voicemail. But like I said, if you have something you want to send on email, please, by all means, it's please help find Daniel at yahoo.com. So if you can do that, I really appreciate it as well. All right. And let's see who else I got here on the okay, here. Again, if you guys have any questions, please put a couple letter Q question, and I will get to it. Let's see. I lost track here. All right. Do I have a question here from Laura? Thank you, Laura, for being here this morning. Do you have an Amazon wish list of needed things? You know, my team, Shauna, is one of them, did ask me to do that a while ago. You know, and it is kind of hard to sit here and think of some of those things that definitely is needed out there. I just think of the essential things, like I said, with the command center. That's just dealing with the water and the snacks and things like that that's needed. But you know, I do have donated radios and things like that, so that helps out too as well, because we do use FRS radios to communicate with each other. But that's, like I said, has been some donated stuff, so it didn't cost us a dime. So really grateful for that, for people who've been volunteered. So like I said, that can come from things like that we need out there. It can come from the wish list, like I said, from Amazon, because we do tend to lose some of those radios, much as people just forget sometimes to turn them back in, and we start losing them and then try to replace them. So, you know, so some of the things like that. So, yeah, it's a list, and I need to sit down and actually put it together. But just thinking off the top of my head, sometimes I end up missing a lot of things that we definitely need out there in those searches, especially for the command center, for everybody's safety. Much as I want to, and I say, hey, I want really today say, hey, I want anybody want to come out there and meet me today at 1:00 to go search a certain area out there in the desert for my son. I would love to do that. But, you know, like I said, that's very irresponsible. That's not the way I started my searches off from the beginning, but it ended up starting to become looking like that at the end. And I didn't like that. When you get to start knowing people and start learning, you know, I've been so busy. We're so busy searching for Dane. I just realized that we didn't have a command center anymore. We didn't have certain little things. I didn't have to have the razors out there and the quads. Of course, I had the razors and quads. Most of the quads and stuff was my investigator and his team providing those vehicles for him and his team. But also for myself, it was definitely needed for volunteers. You know, who may need it, may have a heat injury or whatever the case may be, or just tired and need some help. So there's a lot of things that had to happen out there, and I want to make sure I'm responsible. So definitely, I know I'm sure Shauna and some of the other ones, Sophia, are hearing your question there and remind me to put that again, because I do have a foundation. I do want to mention that Daniel Robinson Foundation has been filed, of course, as I told you guys, we're still in the background getting those things together. So that wish list and things like that will help with that as well. You know, because my whole goal is to help other families. You know, of course, my first priority is to Daniel. At the same time, you know, I definitely want to help other families and make sure that you know, they're taking care of other families will take care as well. Don't have to go through the same thing I've gone through just to you know, look for my son. So there's a lot of pressure as it is without the help, you know. So, you know, just to have a loved one is a lot of pressure and a lot of pain. Thank you. That's right. I love you all too. And thank you so much, Kellen. You know, I love you and really miss seeing your face. So yeah, looking forward to seeing your face again. Thank you also, Rumors, for your question here. If you guys have a question, do as rumor have here. Big question mark, word question. Is it possible to get and FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, released from Buckeye Police? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And why I haven't done it yet is a lot of reasons. But yeah, it is. They keep saying they have now saying they have an active investigation. That's what I heard from the local news. They didn't tell me that, So what I'm saying, anything they say out there to you guys in my purview, it never happening. And I could keep saying that because they, the most disrespectful thing would be to go out and say this to the public, but don't come out and say it's the same disrespect I get from Buckeye, period, from the police department. Don't come out and say anything what they're doing. I got to hear things through you guys, from some report to some news person, or the mayor of Buckeye didn't even acknowledge that I'm here. The vice mayor, the city council, to the city managers. It's the same thing. The same saying they cut from the same cloth, same people. Saying just disrespectful like that. Don't give a crap. Saying just don't have a kind of empathy or anything else. They can say anything with their mouth, but their hearts are totally different, and their actions follows that. So, Freedom of Information Act. Yeah, I'm definitely going to work on that. But it's a time and place when I'm going to do that. So, but I haven't done it yet because, like I said, another reason is because they're saying all of a sudden, oh, we're doing an investigation. They can use that as, well, we're not giving you this information because it's on an investigation. So that type deal. All right. I do see my cousin in here. Thank you. Well, my sister. So cousin by blood, but sister by everything else. Growing up in the same household. Exactly. That's what happened. They worked against you. That's because they edited the drone footage. They edited the phone messages and deleted messages. Thank you, Gwen, for being here. Everybody, this is my sister, family member. So we all going through the pain of I'm still put the other message here too. We all go through the pain of Daniel being missing. Like I said, you guys, you can pray for our family. We definitely are going through it, and without the kind of information that they should be sharing with the family itself, we can come up with our theories about them as well. So those things it happens. But thank you, Gwen, for being here this morning. I love you, girl. And of course, glad you being here. And like I told everybody here, our family, we definitely are going through it. So we definitely gonna have to keep fighting. All right, I do have a question here from Jennifer. Thank you for being here for YouTube. Did he get $3 of gas? If so, did they find the gas can? And that's what I'm saying. Why would we get $3 of gas in an SUV? First of all, other party is no. There's no gas can. I don't even know if it was a gas purchase. They said it was a gas purchase. That's what they told me. That's what they got on camera, got on some video. That was on his bank record. This is a gas station. You can't say what was bought. Was it gas or was it a piece of candy bar or something? I don't know. But according to the police department, of course, this video is gas. And why he would put $3 or whatever it was gas in his vehicle, that don't make sense to me. That's not you. I think some lawnmowers take more gas than that. So, especially with the gas prices. So I really don't know. So, all right. And thank you, Gwen, again for being here. I see your comments and stuff like that. I love you. I miss you so much. I miss my family, period. But thank you for being in the Q&A. All right. D-Love. Question here from D-Love. Thank you for being here this morning. Mr. Robinson, has Buckeye Police Department produced a flight record for the helicopter they say they use? No, they haven't. And I'm still having a hard time. I did have one guy. He was aviation guy to volunteer. Him and his wife was utilizing their plane to do some flights for me to other area to help search for Daniel, part of my searches. And also a guy that I hired, helicopter, to do some flights out there. And I talked to those guys, and they say they can try to get flight logs, things like that for me. Because they had to go into airspace coming out of, if they had a Phoenix Firebird, for instance, helicopter, they're coming out of Phoenix airspace, and those kind of laws would come out of the international airport, because those towers, or whatever you call it, for lack of words, the word I'm going to come up with, for the people who actually check the radars and things like that, the flights that go through there. They're responsible for their airspace, right? But then once they get out to the Buckeye area, I do learn that that is a different type of airspace. So it wouldn't matter. I wouldn't be able to get information from that part of it, but I would see that flight supposedly be going to that area, right? And if it never happened, that means that they're lying on. And that's another thing. I will have to. I just thought about something. I had we have a city council this evening too, for Phoenix. I will be there speaking. So if you guys want to come in and listen to that, I will be going to the city council this evening. I just thought about us having to say that word, and that's what came up. But yes, but just to check and see if that really happened with Phoenix itself. So just make sure. But yeah, I will be at the city council tonight for this evening for their city council to be able to speak as well. So that just came to my mind just now, and I say, wait a minute, I had to look at time. Like, what time is it? But yes, definitely going to be doing that. But yes, I'm definitely looking into that flight record. I've been trying to find that information out for months now, and because I do not believe that story. I just believe, I really deeply in my heart, sometimes you got to listen to your first instinct and your mind. And my mind says, because I left South Carolina and I was riding up this road, and my aunt called me and said she was really excited because she's really hitting them up. Hey, y'all need to go out there and look for my nephew. Y'all need to be out. Whatever she said, I don't know what she said, but whatever she said, she was very excited. They called me. They didn't tell me. Buckeye didn't tell me a thing. She the one told me that they said, hey, they got this Phoenix Firebird in the air. We're gonna go, and they said, David, she was okay. We got the bird, we got the bird, we got the flight, and she was very excited. And I was just now coming into Phoenix, and she was saying that they they're supposed to be searching for my son with his Phoenix. And and to be honest with you, because and the reason why it made me question that is because of the worker. The worker was there that day. They claimed they was out there searching for Daniel at this well site and used his Phoenix Firebird helicopter. The worker said he didn't even hear no helicopter. He didn't even hear it. He said he didn't personally see or heard anything. He didn't personally see no police officer at the well. He was at the well site. So according to him, it's a lie. So that's according to the guy at the well site who said he last seen my son at the well site. So that's what he told me. And that made me question this whole flight, period. I was excited too. When they came up empty-handed, I was disappointed. But I was excited about it. But then when I talked to this guy at the well, and he shared that with me when I asked him about, I said, oh, so you was here when they did, no, I ain't personally see, like, trust me. First of all, you'll see, if you're at the well site, you're going to see officers come at the well site talking to you unless they're invisible. The other part is, if they're flying in the air with a Phoenix Airbird, the way it sounds like a really good helicopter, Firebird. It's not a drone, a quiet drone, or some kind of, quiet military drone or something that you can't hear, stealth or something. It's a helicopter. Who won't hear a helicopter in the desert? The desert is like super quiet. And he's out there working, and you try to tell me this helicopter can be out there looking for doing a search, and he didn't hear it. So I question that. I think it's another thing they put in their report to say, to make the family feel okay. Yes, y'all went out there to search for my son, and yeah, we went out there just to make us feel good, like they did something. But again, they came up empty-handed. Again, if they had this Firebird helicopter searching that area, this vehicle location is only about 3 miles away from that well site. When they have seen that with this Phoenix Bird helicopter, they come up empty-handed. Once again, nothing. So that made me question again their searches as usual. All right, Jazz Ragland, thanks so much for your question. Has the police or FBI said anything to you recently? No. Buck, I have. I called them about this lead that we're following. When I say we, they say they're following this lead also. So I did question about that. He gave me a little something that he said he was doing, and I would like to see that. Say I would like to actually see them doing it. Oh, they're going to do. So I like to see them do it. So, all right. But as them calling me, no. All right. Gwen, I don't know if that's a question. Let's see. Yeah, that's a comment. But you're right. I just see your comment there, and I guess I could put it up there. If it was one of their children, you're right. They would have moved heaven and hell to find their child, and that's the same thing I'm saying. Daniel's, you know how we feel, Gwen. Daniel's not. He's no better than nobody. Nobody's damn sure ain't better than him. And and I feel that, and I know that, yeah, if it's one of their children, if it's Chief Hall's child or somebody else's child, Chief Hall wouldn't have looked at this case, at this incident, and say, "Oh yeah, well, he just wanted to be away from our family, and maybe he just joined a monastery, became a monk." They wouldn't have said, "Oh yeah, he did his own purpose or whatever he had brain and just left it alone." No, they would have, like you said, moved heaven and hell to find out who did this to their child. And they would have every agency, the FBI and everybody else involved, and without effort. The FBI would have been in the case, especially this vehicle being on federal lands. They would have moved heaven and hell, like you said, to find this child or this person. So, yeah, definitely that. All right. So thank you so much for your comment, Gwen, and thanks for being here. I know it's hard. Like I said, I'm standing the gap for all of us. So, all right, we do have a question here from D. Quinto. Thank you so much for here. De Quinto, thank you for being here. David, has LE contacted First in Flight yet? I don't know who First in Flight is, so I don't know if they did or not. But no, I don't know who that is. But I have see your next information down on the bottom here by Echo Search. I have reached out to them several times. Just once, the latest time I spoke with them, Dave Rader told me that our situation didn't fit their profile, and but he ultimately gave me a name of another nonprofit who have drones, and they haven't showed up to the searches as well. So, yeah, I do reach out to a lot of nonprofits and things like that. I've reached out to many of them, and taking you guys' advice and things like that, but I have yet to see any of them help out in these efforts. All right. So fresh, so smell. Thank you so much, Phil. Thanks for being here this morning and helping out. I really appreciate you for being here this morning. JT, thank you so much for being here from Tempe. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it coming out to this Q&A. And D Love, thank you for your question. Mr. Robinson, does Daniel have a field work checklist for equipment from his job? Well, the only thing with Daniel's job, and that's one reason why he was working Instacart, is that he had to provide his own equipment and things needed out there when he's out there. And what he does is he do have an expense report. And that's one thing I do want to check. Since you said that, I hope my team can hear me say this so they can remind me. I need to go to find out Daniel's expense report, what he's been purchasing and things like that those days. And I would get that from his company. So remind me of that. And thank you so much for that question. Also, D Love. All right. Thank you for your prayers. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate it. We need all the prayers that we can get. So you guys can continue to do the prayers and things like that. Like I said, my family would definitely need it. I have a question here. Has Daniel's phone been looked at? Yes, it has. Matter of fact, I'm waiting on some information from that. I do. When I did have it in my possession, I did get some information as well that gave me a lot of information to, well, not a lot, not everything I need, but enough to, make some conclusions about some things that I felt the Buckeye Police Department should have known themselves. But here I am, a untrained detective, if you want to call me investigator, who found some information that they should have found that have yet to even speak about. So, all right. Dave Quinto, thank you for so much. David, okay, question. David, when the weather cools down again, are you planning to continue to do searches? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I'm still planning to do it. I'm planning to do it now. I'm planning every day. I'm planning to get the searches back up. But like I said, I want to do it responsibly, and I want to make sure that it ain't just about my family. It's about also other people who coming out in their family, because they're family of other people, and I don't want other people to be at risk of anything like that. Like I said, the heat is one thing as well. So make sure everybody's okay. So, all right. All right, let's see if you said something about this company that I want to know. You said the first flight is a search company out of Texas with Gene Robinson. You know, I heard of Gene Robinson. That name came up familiar to me, that name when you put that there, because my last name Robinson, and that do sound familiar to me. So it may have been somebody I've spoken to so many people, nonprofits and things like that. But like I said, I haven't yet to find one to come out to help at all in my searches. Like I said, these searches I have been having out there is mainly and totally just on my own. When I say on my own, it's just me and myself and the volunteers that come out. Other than that, I didn't have any law enforcement or nonprofit organizations to aid and things like that. So, but we've been successful finding human remains. We've been successful of, I did have one guy come out from Naked and Afraid. I think that's probably the only person who came out to I can't remember his name, but came out to be on the searches. He's that kind of guy, travel the world and go around doing things. But he was on that show, Naked and Afraid. One of the celebrities for that thing was out there. But other than that, like when it comes to coming to nonprofits and things like that, no. Only nonprofit that helped me out was Black and Missing. They did a really good donation to help keep the searches going, and as well as they also have been provided some more information. So I'm really grateful for them as well for helping my efforts out there in the desert. And they continue to support, especially with this foundation. Like I said, they have their foundation, but they both taking their time out to be there for me, to help us, guide us along to building this foundation up. So I really give really props to Black and Missing Foundation Incorporated, to who is helping and is currently still helping with this my efforts to help other families and also help find my son. So I'm really grateful. Thank you. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to this YouTube channel. It really help out. Guys, I'm like, again, I have to keep my son's story out there, and the key is for you guys to help as well. Thank you again. Yes, I really appreciate it. I need all the luck I can. Thank you all for coming out to this day's Q&A. I do have one this evening. Today is Wednesday. I may just have the Q&As just on Wednesday and do some other things for the rest of those days. So look out for those changes if I decide to do so. If I decide to do that, just come here. If you just want to do Q&As, it'll be just on Wednesday. And but there will be some videos. Like I say, if I do this, it'll be some videos that I will be sharing daily if I can. But there'll be little short videos about information that need to be put out there and what I'm doing and things like that. But other than that, doing the Q&A, it is taking a lot of time. I have to do my investigation and things like that. So, and it's mentally hard too as well. Constantly, rehashing the story, but at the same time, I have to do that to get awareness for my son's case. But just make sure that I'm also utilizing my time properly. So, again, I really thank everybody who've been very supportive for this Q&As and stuff like that. You guys come out and listen to some of these things over and over and over again. And it's for, like I said, the Q&A is also for people who have never heard about my son's case and just now coming in and want to learn some things and want to hear some things from me. So I definitely would like to hear those questions. So please come this evening. Don't forget, I do have one. It's always 2 on Wednesdays. This evening at 5:30. This evening, Arizona time, and it's 8:30 Eastern time. So you guys can please, by all means, come in this evening's Q&A with your questions. The ones I didn't get this morning, you can also ask this evening. And if you have any more, don't forget about the Day of Remembrance. You guys can please put that on your calendar and make plans. Make plans now to be at that event. We're going to have a lot of families there sharing their loved one's story. We're going to have a lot of people in support of this, and we definitely need you out there to be a part. We need all the help we can to support these families, support me and my family. So, we need you out there. So please be a part of that. Don't forget the anonymous tip line, the bottom of the screen, for those person who knows what happened to my son. I know you're here. I know you watch my Q&As. I know that you've been out to the searches. Please, by all means, utilize that. Bring an end to the suffering to my family and give us the answers that we need. Don't make me have to go so hard looking for it when you have the answer right there. Please, by all means, utilize that line. You can be anonymous. It's 24 hours, 7 days a week. Very courteous individuals who answer the phone. And if you don't want to talk to them, you also could just text the word tip to that number, and a form will come up, and you still can remain anonymous. If you further want to feel that you're secure in yourself, you can easily just go get a burner phone. Burner phones are sold at any drugstore or certain little places where you can utilize that phone and still text the word tip to that number and give us the answer that we need to end this pain and suffering for my family and myself. Trying to search for my son. I want to find my son. I want him alive. I want him with us before this year is up. And at this point, we will need our son. If you have information about my son, one way or the other, we just want our son back home. So we want to bring him back to South Carolina where he belongs and bring him back to our family. So, all right. If you want to talk to me directly, that's the number there to do so. Anybody, for anything, you want to have a comment to whatever, suggestions to you name it. I do have some there now that's sitting there, influx of text messages and things I have to go through. I do know I have some voicemails. I see it on that phone. I will be going through some of that today and, try to get through them. But I always answer my text messages and things like that. So it's just that it takes some time because I'll get really busy and then like I said, they pile up. But that's the number there, 803-200-7994. You can go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com for all the information you need when it comes to helping out, like in other ways you can volunteer. It's also on the pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. Please, by all means, utilize that website for everything, as in finding out the event. Like I said, the Day of Remembrance is there. The next time we're going to have the fast and prayer for Daniel is there. So we wanted to print out the flyers for the PDF is there if you want to sign a petition. And especially if you guys, also if you want to donate, I definitely need some donation money. Like I said, to keep things operational, to keep going. I still have to remain in Arizona. I have yet to gain the funding to get this forensics done and things like that, and to try to get the searches back up and running again. So I really need all that help. So if you guys can do that for me, again, I really appreciate it. And thank you guys for coming in this evening for this morning for this Q&A. I hope I get to see you this evening. Please come back out, like I said, at 5:30 p.m. This evening for prime time, Q&A prime time. All right, love y'all. You have a great day. I'll be working hard in the background. Still searching for my son. I haven't stopped. I just stopped the city. I just stopped the organized search for now. Pause it for now. But I haven't stopped searching for my son. By all means, I need your support. God bless you. I love you.